it's me, Camila Rose, and I'm back. No, I have not changed my outfit because I'm literally finished my update video, and now I'm back because I'm gonna let's talk about some books because I need something exciting to talk about, and I love to read, and it is a part of my 185 Insane. Let's get into it. These are the books that I've actually finished, that I still have, and that I can remember that I've read. Recently, I read Initiated by Amanda Yates Garcia, Memoir of a Witch. I thought this was a really fun book. I think that if you like memoir style, memoir-esque books, with a little witchcraft in them, I think this is a great fit for you. There are a lot of things that I found to be inspiring that I was like, oh, okay, like these are things that maybe I could try out, stuff that I could incorporate in perhaps my own practice, but it was just really reflective. It was fun. It was a good time. So I totally recommend reading this. I have been doing the Octavia Butler mixtape workshop thing that's going on TikTok with Dr. Brianna Whiteside, and so if you're interested in that, she has a Substack. There we go. She has a Substack where she's been writing essays. You can sign up for the regular Substack for free, or you can subscribe and you get all the good paid stuff. And we've been reading through the entire Octavia Butler canon. You can also watch, because I don't have TikTok as you all know, but you can watch the book club recaps on YouTube. They're all uploaded on the YouTube channel. We read through Lilith's Brood, and so I finished this one. What is Lilith's Brood about? This is the one with the alien. Yes, the Uncali. And so Earth has been destroyed. It's been a total mess, disaster, terrible. The squid-like aliens, the Uncali, come in and they snatch up some of the humans that are still left, and they get their DNA and they put it in their ship, and then they rebirth these people, or the ones who are still alive, they take them out of this kind of suspended animation state and bring them back, and they're eventually going to, because their drive is to mix with other people, they're looking to innovate, they're looking to change, they like new, fresh things, they like complexity, they're very attracted to humans and their diseases, particularly cancer, because of its adaptive abilities, and that's really what they're looking for, is to adapt, to innovate, so that they can continue on through time. And so they have been taking in these other creatures and mixing with them, and they're now onto the humans. That Lilith is the one that is chosen to go down and to go do this experiment and reconnect with the humans, and they're going to go into this fake Earth that's on a spaceship, and then try to see if they can mix with the Uncali. And there's structure that they have female and male and the third gender, and the third gender is the one that kind of mixes all the DNAs together, and that's their job. And then they want the cancer cell access the intelligence of how cancer operates in order to be able to regenerate their own species and their own limbs and things of that nature, because cancer cells are cells that just multiply uncontrollably. Not great for us, but super great for them, because they can turn it off and turn it on. And so it's Lilith's story about how she connects with the Uncali and how she deals with her own ideas and her own understanding of who she should honor, who she should have loyalty to. Is it to the humans? Is it to the aliens that have rescued them? It's all of those kind of discussions. It gets into race, it gets into gender, because she is a black woman. It is an Octavia Butler book, so there's going to be a main character who is a black woman, and what that looks like for her and who she partners with. And they've taken the humans from where they were, so they carry all the history with them of how society has functioned, and then how it has fallen apart as the environment of Earth was destroyed. And then one of the key components is about reproduction, because the Uncali have made it where they have healed all of the humans of any of their illnesses, but they've taken away their ability to be able to have children. They cannot reproduce with another human. They have to have an alien, an Uncali with them in order to be able to reproduce. And so with the way that works with the Uncali is they basically, once you get kind of the scent or the connection with one of them, or with their group, because it's usually 3 of them together, you are no longer able to stomach to be able to be or touch, you're repelled by another human, or by someone who is not within your family unit. And so even with that, even if they had not taken away the ability to actually be able to reproduce, there was no longer that ability to have the attraction between two humans once they were already made it to one of the Uncali units. And so there's a lot of dynamics there about reproduction and freedom to choose what happens with your body and to have children and all these other things. It's a fascinating story, and we read the entire group. I think, now that I'm thinking about it, Lilith's Brood is the set of the 3 books. So there's 3 of them. There's Dawn, there is Adult Rights, and then there is Imago. And so I just happen to have all 3 of them together. I finally finished God is a Black Woman by Christena, Cleveland, PhD. This is a story about a woman who is going through a reinvention of the self. She was a Christian-oriented scholar, and she worked for Christian-related media and things of that nature and taught at the universities. And as she began to go through like 2020 and the issues with race and gender and class and all of those topics that came to the forefront during the pandemic and then afterwards, and then the election of Trump, she, and kind of how that was playing out, she was finding that the space that she was in was no longer working for her. It was no longer a space where she felt like she could advocate, where she felt safe, where she felt that she would be able to flourish and grow. And so it goes through her journey of what that ends up looking like for her rediscovery of her faith and how that plays out for her. And we take a look at the Black Madonnas, which I'm a fan of. I've gone to France. I've seen some of the Black Madonnas. If you live in the United States, there are a couple of Black Madonnas you can access. There's one in St. Louis. There's one in San Antonio, which is a replica of the one that's in Poland, I think it is. So there are different places where you can go and see Black Madonnas in the United States. But she travels along different routes within France and visits the Black Madonnas there, and she talks about all these different categories of how white supremacy and Christianity and patriarchy play into this idea of subjugating individuals dependent on their many different identity categories. And so it's just a fascinating read. All the Black Girls Are Activists by EbonyJanice. I've read this several times, but I read it again this year, I think in June. I think it was when I was reading it again. And it was a part of an ongoing larger project that I have that is related to exploring what it means to live my life and heal using the word awe. I have a fascination with that word, and so I was just following the path for a while. I read a lot of different books related to, and I just didn't happen to pull those up because I wasn't reading them recently. I read books around sensuality and how our senses work, and getting in touch with the senses and the importance of embodiment. And so one of the books that I was like, let me take another look at this, particularly as I was working on my theory related to a holistic understanding of combining creativity and womanism and healing and growth. I wanted to have a refresher on this perspective because this is a womanist reading towards and Black women in our current society. I love this book. I always recommend it to everybody. And then also I finally finished, oh goodness, there we go. Okay. I finally finished Octavia Butler's Mind of My Mind because I think I'd gotten to basically the end except for maybe like 20 pages. I have a terrible tendency of starting books, and you'll see that when I get into what I'm reading now, what I'm working towards finishing, and then not always completing them. So I was like, knock this one out and actually read the end, because then I can get to, I read the 4th one and I read the 5th one, but I never actually finished the end of this one. So I finished Mind in My Mind, which is the 2nd book, I believe, in the one where if you've read Wild Seed, this is the 2nd book in the series. In this one, we marry who is one of Doro's experiments descendants, and she is what Doro has been working towards and trying to create a family and trying to create a way where he will not have to be alone as he continues to live over time, stealing people's bodies in order to keep his spirit going. And so during all of his experiments with the telepathy and with the special healing abilities and destructive abilities and all of those, he's come up with Mary, who we then learn, oh, it's the Patternist series. There we go. The Patternist series, because we realize that Mary is able to connect with others who are from Doro's line and be able to link them together. And then what does that do? And then how does that impact Doro and his role as kind of father and leader and ruler? So it's a great book, and the series is fantastic. I finished the series, I just never finished this book. So those are the books that I have finished. I'm excited. That does not include, I'm a Kindle Unlimited girly. And when I say that, oh, I read before bed, I'm probably reading something on my Kindle Unlimited. I read everything on there. I read the clean stuff, I read the smut, I read the fantasy, I read the mystery, I read whatever comes up on my little Kindle Unlimited that looks good to me, because the joys of having Kindle Unlimited is I can open it up, I can see if I like it. If I don't like it, I don't have to keep reading it. So I think so far on Kindle Unlimited this year, I've read 72 books, because I like, sometimes they're very short, you know, but usually they're a good 300, 400 pages. But I just like to, at night, like I'm just gonna see what pops up and what I find to be interesting. I read a lot of Black romance. I read a lot, well, I honestly try to make sure that if I'm reading a book, it has a Black main character, because I like to read stories about Black women and Black people. So I read a lot of that, but I also read a lot of spiritual books. I read a lot about astrology and things like that. And you'll see in my list of the books I'm working on, are they like a TBR? Not really. They're just books that I'm like, eventually I will finish these up, and it is my goal to finish them all up by the end of the year. Do I have any anticipated reads? To be honest with you, not really. I just read what catches my eye. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye.